Well, we're back. We're live.
Hi. Sorry about that. Hi, it's Earlene.
So we're back, and we're so glad to be here. Thanks, Earlene, for coming back.
Thank you.
We've got a lively thing going on today about a lot of things that matter most right here in our community.
Yep, we've got lots going on. So we're a little bit postponed. We're a little bit discombobulated this week. Normally we do the show on Tuesdays, but I had leadership team training through the Meade County Chamber of Commerce on Tuesday, and then Wednesday we were all up in airs getting ready for the Chamber of Commerce banquet dinner last night, which was wonderful. And then today we're finally able to find some time to do this. But normally, we should be back on our Tuesday schedule next week and moving forward. I really enjoy that schedule, and people have told me that they like looking.
Tuesdays at 2, it sounds right.
I like Tuesdays at 2.
I think so.
Tuesdays at 2. I want to get a T-shirt that says Tuesdays at 2.
Earlene and Steve show.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. We could give those away.
Right, before we get too deep into things, let's go give our sponsors a shout out. Pay attention to this cut.
Yep.
This episode is sponsored by Serenity Fitness, Yoga, and Reiki, where wellness isn't about following rigid rules, it's about discovering what truly works for you. Founder Wendy Spahn, a retired and disabled Army veteran, created Empowered Serenity, a coaching program designed to help you break free from old patterns, reconnect with your intuition, and step into your power. With meditation, movement, energy work, and intuitive practices, this isn't just coaching, it's a journey of transformation. Learn more at myserenityfitness.com.
Looking to master the art of Taekwondo? Join Sharon's Taekwondo Academy, founded by Bobby Sharon in 1975. Conveniently located off of North Dixie Highway in Elizabethtown, our academy welcomes students of all ages and skill levels. Connect with us on Facebook at Sharon Taekwondo to see our vibrant community, including many Meade County residents. Visit us online at www.sharontaekwondo.com. Sharon's Taekwondo Academy, where discipline meets excellence. Injured? Unsure where to turn? Meet Darren Sipes, attorney at law, Brandenburg's trusted personal injury advocate. Located at 313 Hillcrest Drive, Darren is here to fight for your rights and get the justice you deserve, whether it's an accident at work or on the road. His expertise and compassion put you first. Call today at 270-422-3939 to schedule a free consultation. Don't face the legal system alone. Let Darren Sipes lead the way. Your fight is his mission. And we're back. Earlene, let's dive in. This is going to be interesting. I know last week when we were talking about the smartphone thing, it was, you were very passionate.
I'm still very passionate.
I know.
About
I
it.
saw the thing on Netflix you were talking about, the 13-year-old. Oh, it's like,
I know. Eddie started watching it last night, and even he was like, holy cow.
I know.
And I said, yeah. And so when it showed the part where they went into the school and that the cop's son was explaining different emojis mean different things, and he was being specific about it, I was like, I see this.
Yeah.
I see this right here in Meade County, Kentucky, and I see it with kids who are 5th, 6th, 7th grade doing
sad.
Things like this. It's very sad. I am heartened though. I was visiting with someone at the on our leadership team thing at Fort Knox this week, and she said, it's been difficult, but we are very strict with our children. She said, they didn't get a phone until they were 16, and then they got a phone that only had Wi-Fi. And I said, well,
flip phone. No,
I don't know. And I was like, well, can you get a phone where they cannot connect to an internet? And she said, oh yeah. And so they've done that. And she said, it's our responsibility as their parents to protect them from this. And so, and what happens is, most of the parents I know are wonderful parents. They want nothing but the very best for their children. And they'll say things like, well, I've told him not to do X, Y, Z, or I'm sure she would never do such and such. And then they do. And so they can't help it. They're going to follow. They're going to follow that. If their friends are doing it, they're going to do it too. So I did write a little story about it. That it was my editorial, just talking about it, and I ended it kind of tough. I said, when my daughter, who is now 35 years old, when she was their age, 11, 12, 13, back then the question always, like there was always these PCAs about it, and
PSAs, yeah.
PSAs about it. And it would always say, make sure if your child's going to visit somebody's home, ask if they have guns, ask if they have loaded guns. And I was like, now you need to ask what kind of internet access these kids have. You know, what are they looking at?
That's just as bad as a loaded gun. Yeah.
Oh, I think it's right up there. And so not only should you ask about the gun situation when your child's going to visit a house, ask about the internet situation. You know, what kind of access they have. What do you know what these children are going to be doing when the parents that are hosting are sound asleep, and the kids, kids set up, they have popcorn, they watch movies and all that kind of stuff. So of course they're going to get on their phones, or
chat rooms, and
yeah. So anyway, so that's something that I feel like is an ongoing thing. On my editorial, I said that I would be visiting different things that I want to explore, not just the negativity of what's happening with internet these days, but I realize all the positive stuff. And we need to not forget that there's lots of positives that are involved, but we also need to remember that there's dark things that can be harmful. They can be harmful for adults.
Yeah.
They can be harmful for our elderly.
You can't unsee some things.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think if we can just look at that more and kind of keep it a balance, and realize that there's some accountability all the way around. I can see it working.
Absolutely. No, I don't disagree. I think, but there's also good ways. They're like BBTEL, and I want to give a shout out to them. They do a great job. They have some programs that you can sign up for as a parent, especially, like they always get they've always got these manuals that says blank for dummies, right? Or computers for dummies or whatever. Well,
I've got one on my desk that says proofreading for dummies.
Surely not.
I do.
Well,
it's in there right now.
So, I love that they have their programs with BBTEL, though. So if you're a parent having children coming up in this, they do have some stuff that you can utilize within their portfolio that helps you protect your children and monitor their browsing and some other things. So it makes it a little bit easier, especially if you're not very internet savvy, you don't know how to set up your firewalls and all the other techno stuff that would require an entire IT department. But all of that's available through them and stuff. So check them out. If you're a BBTEL customer, they've got some really great products to help you as a parent. But, I guess I do feel bad we missed Tuesday at 2 this week, but I know there's been so much going on.
Gosh.
It's like spring break's coming next week, and everybody wants to jump in, and there's so much going on. I know we have a lot in the community calendar this week. So
it's absolutely packed. Because not only is spring break starting tomorrow, and so a lot of parents are packing up, or families are moving out to go enjoy somewhere besides here for spring break. Plenty of people are going to stay right here, and there's so many amazing things you can do. One of the things that's pretty amazing that you can do during spring break is, and I can't think of the day, I think it's Saturday. I think it's this next Saturday. Camp Piamingo is doing an open house.
Yeah.
And you can just stop by over there and you can try out all their things. They've got rock climbing, they've got high ropes, low ropes. There's all kinds of great hiking trails.
Sure.
And just be able to just visit and get an idea for what goes on in Camp Piamingo. We're very fortunate to have that available in our county. The kids come from all over, out of state,
right,
all over the state of Kentucky to go to camp there. They have day camp programs intermittently. I don't think they have a regular day camp program. It's mostly an overnight, over a 1 or 2 week program.
Just like you saw on TV when, back in the 80s where they had a lot of prevalent camp shows where you'd sleep overnight. And what was the one where the two twins?
Freaky Friday.
Yeah.
Was it Freaky
Friday? No. You remember the two twins, the Disney one where two twins and the dad. and they
it
were
wasn't Freaky Friday. What was it? I can't think of the name of it, but I know exactly.
I hate it when that happens. We have a blank.
Me too. They had an old version, and then they did a newer one. And so, because Dennis Quaid played the dad in the newer one.
Yes. We're both thinking, we're there.
I know.
Anyway, the girls didn't even know they were sisters, but they're identical twins at the same summer camp.
Yeah,
That's
I thought
crazy.
that was pretty fun. Yeah, there used to be a lot more camping movies. You're right. Back in the 80s, early 90s than they have now. Things have moved on beyond that.
There's actually adult camps where adults who are singles go and go to those types of camps to have adult engagement in a positive way.
Well, and they have girls trips and guy trips. Like people go hunting or fishing, or women will just go off and get an Airbnb on a lake somewhere. That's what I'm doing next weekend. I'm going away with 3 or 2 other women, and we're going to go up in the mountains for just 3 nights.
Very good.
Just kind of, shake the dust of this town and
Go have an adventure. Adventures are good.
Adventures are good.
So on the calendar, is there's supposed to be? Is there a softball tournament this weekend, or is that?
I think there's a softball tournament.
It's at the park, right?
It is. It's at the park.
Nolan.
That's it. So
Good, I gotcha. And then I know there's all kinds of stuff going on, farmers markets stuff all over, but I can't believe how much room the community calendar is taking up in the newspaper now.
I know, but I love it because people are calling in. They're giving things.
They want their spot.
Well, and right now it's kind of cool because we've got all the fish fries.
I was about
here,
to say that. Yeah.
And anything to do with Easter is on here, and not just from the religious standpoint, but there's some secular things. You know, Easter egg hunts and things like that are on here. It's really fun to pick this up and to see what you can do. You know, some things that's on our community calendar are strictly for adults, and some things are more geared towards children. But there's a lot of family stuff on here, and not only that, it's far-reaching. We have stuff that's available in Cordon. We have stuff from Fort Knox. We have stuff all over Hardin County and Meade County. You know, there's just always something to do. Some things are like here. We've got the installation of newcomer orientation. That's a Fort Knox thing, but it helps people know that you've got people processing in. You know, coming in to live in this community.
If you're a small business, you can also coordinate with them and connect with those new family arrivals as well. So.
Yep. So anyway, we're pretty excited about that. You know, one of the things that I want to talk about is how our small town has supported each other. Last week, I was looking on Facebook, and I noticed that one of the brick and mortar businesses has invited a couple of the truck businesses. And
the food trucks?
Yeah. Well, one of them's a coffee. So I guess they sell food in there as well. But it invited them to come over and to share. So she's actually made it available for a couple of other businesses to come in and use her space, and they've kind of collaborated. And I'm like, that's so good. That is exactly what we should be doing. It reminds me kind of you know, the Santa Claus movie where they were at Gimbel's or Macy's and they sent them to the other store
That's right.
to get things.
Why would you do that?
Yeah, why would you do that?
Because
we're going to be nice, you know, because we're not going to try to claw each other or be ugly to one another.
That can happen in business.
It can happen, and I don't want it to be that way. You know, people will say something to me occasionally. And I'm like, well, there's not a competition. We don't have a competition. You know, different businesses do different things, and the more we support one another,
that's right,
the best. And so like one of the things that I've really been focused on lately, because Eddie and I, we try as much as we can to keep our money in Meade County, Kentucky.
Sure.
You know, we get our hair cut here, we eat out here, we shop here as much as possible. You know, any extra thing, any specialty stuff, you know, if we want to have something done with our rugs, have or whatever,
same thing,
businesses here.
100%.
So I'm always a little surprised when I go to do that, you know, and I'm cranking out my money and I'm like, hey, do you have a subscription to the paper?
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, no, we don't have that. We wouldn't read it. Yeah, but you probably need to get a subscription to the paper. And then they'll kind of hem and haw a little bit. And then I'll say something like, I'm paying $40 for a haircut right now, and I'll be back in 6 weeks for another one. And an entire year of the subscription is $48 and some change. And that would support me and the business I'm affiliated with as I am supporting you.
Yeah.
And it's important that we do that. And I don't mean that to be like a snot rocket. I mean that as to take care of each other.
Well, you know, the work we've both been working on to do that and spread the word, like at McDonald's now, you have a couple that are laying there. You can read them and have a cup of coffee at McDonald's in the morning if you want to go over there. Home Plate, we have a few there at the Home Plate. And, you know, we just want you to know out there that what we are doing in the paper is to bring the community together, not to divide the community. So what you will find in our newspaper with the team that Earlene's working with on the writers and stuff is what's happening in Meade County. And, you know, we do have some neighbors that are businesses that are part of the Meade Chamber of Commerce.
Yes.
And, you know, we have folks that are on the borders of our county that also support Meade County and do business with our businesses in Meade County. So we also take our time to make sure that they feel like good neighbors.
Well, you know, and a lot of people will say, well, I don't need the advertising. You know, I don't need more business. And good on you.
Yeah.
I am so happy to hear that. That makes me so happy. But You can still buy
A subscription.
a subscription. Yeah, you can still support us in those ways.
Especially if you have a waiting area.
Yeah.
If you have a waiting area, yeah.
Just have it. So having said all that, that leads me to this. I should have brought my little thing in here, but I have a goal, and I've gotten one of those temperature charts.
Big thermometer.
Yeah, it's probably like 3 or 4 feet long.
That's right.
And me alone, the editor, with the help of our amazing team and all of our coworkers, really want to increase our subscriptions. So I have a number. I want to sell 202. I think is what I came up with. 202 subscriptions that I would like to sell in the next couple of months. And so I will be rattling around talking to people, and I will say, "Oh, do you have a subscription? Oh, you don't? Let me help you get one."
Yeah. And it's interesting, too, because if you do get a subscription, when we do get the fair catalog complete, you'll actually get it delivered to your house, and you don't have to go look for it on a newsstand.
Well, that's exactly right. That's a good bonus. So, yeah, I just sold one the other day to somebody in Hardin County. She said, "No, you are always so supportive of me. Of course, I'd love to read that paper."
Sure.
And she's just an avid reader, and she just enjoys reading. So, I just wanted to put that out there that, we'll be.
Speaking of people who support us, let's give our sponsors another shout. We'll be right back.
Okay.
This episode is sponsored by Serenity Fitness, Yoga, and Reiki, where wellness isn't about following rigid rules, it's about discovering what truly works for you. Founder Wendy Spahn, a retired and disabled Army veteran, created Empowered Serenity, a coaching program designed to help you break free from old patterns, reconnect with your intuition, and step into your power. With meditation, movement, energy work, and intuitive practices, this isn't just coaching, it's a journey of transformation. Learn more at myserenityfitness.com.
Looking to master the art of Taekwondo? Join Sharon's Taekwondo Academy, founded by Bobby Sharon in 1975. Conveniently located off of North Dixie Highway in Elizabethtown, our academy welcomes students of all ages and skill levels. Connect with us on Facebook at Sharon Taekwondo to see our vibrant community, including many Meade County residents. Visit us online at www.sharontaekwondo.com. Sharon's Taekwondo Academy, where discipline meets excellence. Injured? Unsure where to turn? Meet Darren Sipes, attorney at law, Brandenburg's trusted personal injury advocate. Located at 313 Hillcrest Drive, Darren is here to fight for your rights and get the justice you deserve, whether it's an accident at work or on the road. His expertise and compassion put you first. Call today at 270-422-3939 to schedule a free consultation. Don't face the legal system alone. Let Darren Sipes lead the way. Your fight is his mission.
So I'm super excited about our new sponsors.
Yeah.
So it's really great to sponsor the show. You can sign up to sponsor. It's $75 a month. We mention your name so many times, and we talk about different things to do with your business. But all three of the sponsors that we have for the next 3 months are near and dear to my heart. Wendy Spahn has the yoga studio downtown. We're doing team building with her next Wednesday.
Is it next Wednesday?
It's next Wednesday.
Oh, man, I'm not even going to be. All right.
I know. Well, she set it up, and we're going to go in there, and she said she's going to show us some stretches that we can do in our in our seats, because we do a lot of seat work. We do a lot of this hunched over stuff because we're working on computers and keyboards.
Yes.
So she's going to talk to us about that. She's going to talk to us about how to channel more positive thoughts, that sort of thing. So I'm very excited about that. Another way
I can definitely use some of that with all the negativity that we see on social media.
Oh, I bet you can.
My good Lord.
Oh, I bet so. Well, and another stress thing for me is a couple of times a week I drive up to Sharon's Taekwondo, which is another one of our sponsors. Yep. So Grandmaster Bobby Sharon, he has a wonderful Taekwondo school. It's right there beside that Peddler's Mall.
Yeah.
There's there's that gym, and then here's Peddler's Mall, and then he's kind of in between there.
I just saw on Facebook Marketplace some stuff at that Peddler's Mall, so we could make that little kitchenette a little bit better. And
That'd be great.
Yeah,
that'd
they have
be great.
some stuff. But anyway, I'm taking away from
Sharon. But that's okay. That's okay.
I know exactly where you're talking about.
Yeah, but it's great to go up there. And, he does a lot of, there's children. You can start at age 6, go all the way up to adults. I think we have 78-year-olds training there. And
You have 78-year-olds?
training there. Yes.
They're all 78.
No, we have some 78.
This is one of those. This is one of those word phrase moments.
Yeah.
It sounds.
All right, so we have a couple of people who are age 78 years of age who are training at Sharon's Taekwondo.
That's funny.
So it goes from age 6 up to age 78.
Yeah.
So how's that? Is that
Now but some that the 7. Well, Sharon is.
I
he's
think
been there
like
since
81,
1970, 75.
75 is when he opened.
so-
Yeah, and he's a grandmaster.
Ninth
he's a
belt, yeah.
ninth degree black belt. I'm a first degree black belt, so I'm just a little pipsqueak compared to him. But he's pretty phenomenal. And our other sponsor, who I love so much, is Darren Sipes. And so I remember Darren as a little boy. His brother Eric was in my grade in my class when we were growing up, and so now Darren's grown up and he is an attorney. And a couple of times a year, one of the really great ways he gives back to the community is a couple of times a year he'll run a special on your last will and testament for $25. He'll write you a will. And you just go in, you give him all the pertinent information, and he zips it out because he feels very passionate that you have a will.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
So, yeah.
And it's like the next step to estate planning, especially. That's the last thing you want to do is be a burden on your family if
I know.
you pass. So
I know.
yeah, no,
So-
I think it's fantastic. Those I'll having all three of those team up for the next 3 months, and we do have another sponsorship spot open, and we do have other sponsorship opportunities available. If you're, marketing is not cheap, but if you're looking for a way to get your name out there, we have lots of sponsorship opportunities with Meade Media Group and the Messenger. So reach out
I
to
do
us.
know that our last sponsors, our last group of sponsors, several people mentioned that they heard about them on this show, or we had said something about them, either on Facebook or something else. Because once they're during that period of time when they're our sponsor, we're going to high five them
all day
the
long,
whole time.
Yep. And we'll still talk about them good even after. So it's not.
Yeah.
We appreciate the business, even if it's one time a year. We're just glad to be partnered, like you were saying earlier about our businesses. We got to work together and support one another, and I think that's our definite destiny is to lift up the entire community.
Well, I do have a funny story, and I see the point in this. A friend of mine, she's very smart. She's got a great job here in Meade County, and very involved in the community. And she said, I'm a little embarrassed to say this, but I feel like I can trust you to tell you this. And I was like, okay, what is it? She said, I didn't know. It never occurred to me that newspapers need income. I was like, why did you think that? And she said, I don't know. I mean, there's, the newspaper's just always there.
Yeah.
You just think, oh, I just pick up the newspaper or it's going to be in the newspaper. And she said, I just never put the dots together that newspapers need income the same as anything else, like a welding business or a car mechanic business or a grocery store. And she said, it just never occurred to me. And I said, a lot of people say the same thing, like for religious organizations. It doesn't occur to them that they still get a bill for electricity or they still have payroll or, stuff like that. And a newspaper does as well. And so one part of me liked it, that she felt like we were just so solid that we're just always going to be there. And she felt that safe comfort of that.
Right.
But another part of me thought, how many people share that? How many people share that attitude, thinking, nothing ugly or nothing, malicious about it? It just didn't occur to her to do that. And so I carefully explained to her how it works, and then she immediately bought a subscription. So I'm happy that she called Sean right up and he hooked her up. So. Were you going to say something?
No, I think it's on the same note. It's not only that, but like newspapers, they think that they exist. There's laws in Kentucky that say that like you will advertise in a newspaper. A lot of those are going away. Because of internet and everything else. And in fact, legislation is back in legislation for the last 2 days, and that is to either override a veto of any bills that were vetoed by the governor, or to move on to law from anything that was passed by the governor, and then finalize the legislation. So they're actually in the last 2 days. And one of those interesting topics this year's legislation was actually to remove a lot of the requirements that cities and counties had to report to the newspaper and advertise changes to whether they were going to change an ordinance or they were going to do this or that, and forcing you to pretty much go to multiple different websites all over the place to find that and get an announcement. So a lot of changes are happening to news. So it's important to be local, unbiased, and just put the news out there.
Sure.
And I know we talk all the time, Earlene. I always get beat up because everybody knows, well, that dude's a Republican. Is he going to be this way? And I'm like, no, I'm not going to be that way. I will on certain podcasts or stuff like that. I'll give my opinion in a podcast.
Right.
But the newspaper is not the place to make that land. That's a periodical. We're trying to give you factual information that you can use if you're going to make a conclusion, and that it's a resource, not not a sore.
Yesterday, I had two different conversations that were on completely opposite ends of the spectrum. One fellow that I talked to, he was kind of prickly, and he's like, well, I know you're just doing your job, and you're going to get your due diligence by slinging mud about this all over the place. And I was like, I don't know who you're talking about, but if you've been around since I've been the editor and since this paper's been owned by different people, there's no mudslinging going on. We're not slinging mud. And so I kind of got him.
We've been slung at, but...
Yeah, so I kind of got him simmered down a little bit over there. And I was like, no, we're going to talk about this, and I'm going to come out there next week, and we're going to chit-chat about this, and we'll see if there needs to be something written about. And because I feel like there is, and so if so, we're going to do it.
Yeah.
On the other end, I'm sitting there last night having my sangria at the Chamber Awards dinner.
By J&H Winery coming in, fixing to have a soft opening.
Yep. And this lady puts her hand on my shoulder, and I turn, and she said, I just want to tell you, I love what's happening with the newspaper. I love getting it every week. I love reading it. She said, I go, oh, I didn't know. And, and she goes, I love the sports stuff, the high school stuff, the community people that you're highlighting. And it's funny because the paper comes out today.
Yeah.
And one of the things that's coming out today that, we'll touch base on that a little bit. I mentioned Camp Piamingo a while ago. They've got a new executive director in. His name is Chris Cassandra. And so he's coming in, and he's going to be leading Camp Piamingo. On April 22nd, we're going to have some Camp Piamingo people as a guest on the show. And so we're looking forward to that. Also, make sure you pick up this week's paper if you are a woman that is reentering the workforce, or if you know of women who are reentering the workforce. ECTC is doing great strides to help women. They're going to meet on May 1st, 8th, and 22nd at Severance Valley Baptist Church. That's that huge church at the end of Patriot Parkway as you're going into E-Town.
Is it Severance?
Severance.
Yeah.
Severance Valley
Big,
Baptist Church.
big.
It's the oldest Baptist church in Elizabethtown,
Wow.
or maybe in Hardin County,
That's
but for
pretty big.
sure, yeah. And it's big now. It used to be itty bitty, and it was downtown, sort of.
Yeah.
I remember when I was a kid that it was little.
I just know it because that's where you turn left to go to Menards.
I know. See, I know that too. That's where I turn left to go to Sam's.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, so we've got that going on. Another kind of interesting thing, there was a lot of grumbling and complaining, and I guess just confusion about what decisions go into deciding if schools are going to be closed for the day. Some people are like, well, I'm looking outside right now, and the roads are clear, and yada, yada, yada. But these aren't people that are down on the hill in Wolf Creek. They're not the ones who are out in the country. And if you're out somewhere where there's lots of shade trees, it takes forever for that ice and snow to melt. So I thought that was pretty interesting, reading about all the decisions that go into that and the different people that have to connect, to make that decision.
Makes sense.
And they consider all possibilities. And I thought if people would read this, they might be a little less quick to jump the gun on that and start blowing people up.
Yeah.
There's
I don't
always.
know if you can say blowing people up on the air, but
Well, what I meant was
the AI bots will pick that up.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I didn't mean that.
I'm just kidding. I know what you didn't mean. It was harmless.
I'm telling you what, I have been.
It's so hard to know what to say anymore on that because you get hurt somebody's feeling, or the FBI is going to be banging on your door.
That's another good thing about being 60 is I care a whole lot less. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. I don't want to be mean or anything. But I get over it a whole lot more. I don't worry about it as much as I used to.
But we sure do know how to be kind with all that years of experience, right?
I do. I do. Meade County's kind of ran me ragged this week. I was teasing people. So we were talking about how it seems like everybody and their brother wanted to get together and have a meeting the week before spring break. And it's meetings that we can't just not cover because it's meetings that happen just like once or twice a year. So, the the what's called the emergency preparedness
management. Yeah.
management. They met the other week and the other day, and we went and covered them. And that's a once a year thing. You know, the chamber, the awards thing. It's a once a year thing. The extension office, they met Monday night, so I went and sat in on that board of directors meeting, and they only meet twice a year. And so, and it's big.
Yeah, you know, speaking of meetings, I was talking to Matt Pike last night, the manager of Meade County Bank, CEO, whatever the title, president. Yeah. So, you know, he loves the meetings. But you go to these meetings and there's like nobody there. So if it wasn't for us covering a lot of these meetings, nobody would even know what happens unless you ask for a public record of it.
That's a great segue because one of the other things I did this week was I went to the planning and zoning meeting. So for the city. And so that's the first one I've ever gone to because Mr. Joe Hager always covers that. But he had a conflict. So he asked me if I could do it. And I was like, sure. And that one was pretty interesting. I had my eyebrows up a little bit because there was a hot discussion about how to have a business license when you're inside city limits and all the requirements.
Home versus commercial,
like home,
residential.
Yeah. Home occupation business versus a separate from your home occupation. And it was pretty interesting because I guess you have to clear it through the city council as well as P&Z, and they kind of have to connect because one of the fellows that was in there, he had gone to city council the month before, then he was at planning and zoning, and they were like, yeah, you got to go back to city council, and I thought, whoa. So, but that was pretty interesting. There was also I thought, they talked for a long time about the heights of fences, you know, around your house. There's rules. Yeah. And so so I found that very interesting too.
Privacy fences?
Not so much in the back.
You'd think it's an HOA or something, huh?
You would think. And I know. So HOAs are not the only people that can't just throw up what they want to. But you know what? They made it so clear. And I appreciated this. They said it's a safety issue. You don't want a privacy fence that provides you so much privacy that a law enforcement officer can't see over it. You know, if they have to see over it with their flashlights, if there's something going on, if you've called 911 for help and they can't get back there. So I was like, I had never really considered that. So that is something.
But is the crime rate that bad that we need to lower our fences in Brandenburg City?
No, but you know, there'll be that one time you have somebody back there and you can't get through. And so I thought that was pretty interesting. So you can do that. We also have a little write-up about the month of the military child that's coming up.
That's good.
And the lady that we talked to for that, she gave a lot of excellent insight to what it's like for that, her kids.
Well, I think it's another exciting paper.
It is. It's a good-looking paper.
Writers are kicking it in the hiney. They're taking notes and names, and they're writing it down. They're getting after it, and it's a good, healthy paper. We're back to 8 and 8, so it's a little fuller. We've also got the grad tab coming up.
We do.
We got about 2 weeks, 3 weeks. If your son or daughter is graduating from high school, you need to give us a call.
Or if you haven't.
270-422-2155. Call it in and get your requests in. You can also go online and email us at admin@themessengerky.com to put your request in. And we just need to get the information from you so that you can get, and it's only $45. If you want to get your son, daughter featured for the graduation tape.
That's what I was going to say. A lot of these seniors in high school, they have part-time jobs.
Yeah.
And so if you've got
if you're an employer, that's right.
Yes. You know, compliment them. You know, you can say, Stephen Lick is thrilled to have so-and-so working here.
That's right.
And then it's a shout-out.
We have one of those, actually.
We do have one that is graduating this year.
So don't hesitate. This is a do not wait. And also, I will be negligent if I did not remind you that the prices go up after April 15th for advertising in the Fair Catalog. The time is now if you want to get in and get some good real estate on the Fair Catalog. We are accepting ads. We are almost at our goal of filling up the Fair Catalog, but those prices won't stick around after April the 15th, and we do have some real estate left. So thanks for joining us today.
Yep. Thank you guys for bearing with us this week. We hope that you enjoyed today's newspaper. Make sure you pick up next week's paper because it comes out on April 3rd. And so we'll have a little shout out about the anniversary of April 3rd and a lot of other good news in that too.
Very good.
Yep.
Another
We'll
great
see you
show.
guys.
Y'all have a great night.
Thanks, guys.